But I think, scheduling it out at the beginning of the week, taking 4 or 5 or 6 days and just being like, okay, this is what time and where I'm going to work out, and kind of, putting it on your GCal and, planning that into your week right away at the beginning of the week can really help you stay on track.
That was Lee Hersh, and this is episode 68 of the Chopped Podcast. Hey everyone, I'm Marley of the blog Namely Marley. I'm your host, and this is the Chopped Podcast. You know, this is the podcast designed for people just like you, bloggers who love food. Each week, my goal is to share with you interviews, thoughts, stories, everything related to food blogging so that we can all learn together about what works with food blogging and maybe even a little bit about what doesn't. Today, I'm talking to Lee Hersh of the site Fit Foodie Finds. Lee and I are talking about something that I think is near and dear to all of us, which is really like, how can we maintain fitness goals as a food blogger? Sometimes being a food blogger can be so sedentary. It's like all roads lead to the chair in front of my computer. Whether it's scheduling out social media or editing photos or writing content, it's you and your computer getting it done. And sometimes I think that's the thing that I probably like the least about food blogging, and that is because I like to think of myself as an active person. And it's just that, it's in fact one of the reasons that I didn't like my job in the business world was being stuck behind a desk, looking out at the trees and the beautiful outdoors through the window. And sometimes I can find myself doing that today as a food blogger, and I find it can be very discouraging. So Lee and I talk about this. We talk about how to know yourself, like maybe your circadian rhythm kind of thing, like when is the best time for you to exercise, and how you can work your day around that. That may mean taking off for a walk right before lunch, or it may mean scheduling a walking meeting versus a coffee shop meeting. Chances are the people you're working with feel the same way too. They're probably wishing they could move around a little bit more. And Lee also talks about that you can find ways to surround yourself with like-minded people to help you achieve your own goals. So that's important too. I have a friend and we will meet for a walk instead of going for lunch sometimes, and I love that. I've also incorporated some things throughout my day to keep me active and moving around. It could be even just doing squats as I'm in the kitchen or whatever. Things like that I think have a big impact. And Lee says that she has great music playing and sometimes she'll just break into dance. How perfect is that? Today's episode is all about encouraging you to find ways to be active in your day every day. I know you're going to love listening to Lee talk about not only her fitness, but her very impressive blog planning and production tips. I just can't wait to share that with you. You know me, I love talking about process. So it's really, she has a great process. It's very impressive. But first, let's talk Chopped. Did I tell you that Kara Anzus of the site Fork and Beans and Fee Kelnhofer with the site Sweet Fee are going to be co-hosts this year? I'm really excited because we've already started meeting and brainstorming ideas to make this year's event even better than before. We're also lining up some amazing speakers like Jessica Merchant of the site How Sweet Eats and Emma Chapman of the site A Beautiful Mess. You should just go check out A Beautiful Mess on Instagram and see if you don't feel amazingly inspired. I'm so excited for Emma to be coming to the conference and for you all to get to meet her. And all of the speakers at the conference are going to be amazing. In fact, feeling inspired is such an important thing, and that's one of our goals at Chopped Conference is to make you inspired to be your best you. So head over to choppedcon.com and click on register to buy your ticket today. We can't wait to see you. So let's get right to today's feature interview with Lee Hersh. Today's intro shout out goes to Gretchen of the Kumquat blog. Gretchen says she was recently doing dishes and folding clothes while listening to the Chopped podcast. What, Gretchen? A food blogger doing dishes? Food bloggers doing dishes is like two peas in a pod, right? It's like peanut butter and jelly. They go together perfectly. So in honor of Gretchen, everybody get out those dishwashing gloves, have your scrubbing wand at the ready, put your phone on speaker, and let's talk about all things food blogging and so much more. Hey everyone, I'm happy to have Lee Hersh of the site Fit Foodie Finds on the show today. Hey Lee, welcome to the Chopped podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Well, I am so glad to talk with you today. We're going to talk about the fitness side of food blogging, which is, I think, something a little bit surprising, but I think it's something everyone's going to love. But first, I want to talk with you about really kind of a little bit of background. What caused you to start your food blog?
Yeah, so I started my food blog 5.5 years ago, and I was actually a college student at the University of Minnesota. And I started it more as kind of chronicling my life as a college student and how to live a healthy lifestyle in college. So it wasn't really all food at first. It was more like a diary-based blog.
Oh, that's so funny. I hear so many people who say they start their blogs as something about not food, and then we all kind of gravitate towards the food.
Yeah, I think food is something that everybody can relate to, and that's it did definitely help me fall in love with food. So,
That's very good. Was there a reason that you think you gravitated towards food? Is it because you got great response from that, or you just found that you really resonated with that?
yeah, I think the community started growing around my recipe posts.
Yeah.
And so as a new blogger, you get so excited when you get like your first comment. And so
Yeah.
I sort of was just like, oh, people like this, and so do I. I'm going to keep going with it. So that's kind of that whole thing kind of just spiraled.
That's really cool. So have you always been interested in cooking?
Yeah, definitely. I was totally like that 11-year-old who like made Thanksgiving dinner for her family. I mean, I
Wow.
have always been in the kitchen, and I made my family dinners growing up and just have always been really interested in food. And then kind of as I started getting older, more healthy recipes and recipes made with whole foods. So,
I could see that, that evolution over time because, at first you're wanting to make cookies and all this really good stuff. And then at some
yeah,
age you
and
want
then
to
you're
make them
like,
healthy.
probably shouldn't eat 10 cookies a day. So,
Yeah. So tell me about, I'm always curious to know about people's food photography skills because, it's kind of like a necessity of food blogging. And did you start out understanding how to use your camera and to work all that, or did you grow that over time?
yeah, so kind of an interesting part of my story is at the time I was actually in design school.
Oh, cool.
So I didn't graduate from design school, but I took a year and a half of those classes. And so that kind of was sort of like a catalyst in me being interested in sort of food styling and photography. So I was
Interesting.
simultaneously like learning the programs and all about, color and how design works.
Yeah.
So I'm a self-taught photographer, but sort of went to school for some of like the basic design knowledge, like Photoshop and InDesign and all that fun stuff we use to edit photos and create graphics.
Ah, those are some great skills to have then.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think even just the color balance is so important to know which complementary colors work really well together. I think it can make such a big difference on a photo.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, food photography is the thing that definitely keeps me going on my blog just because it's my favorite part hands down. I love styling, photographing, and then just like the whole editing process. That's like my favorite thing about blogging.
That's cool too. Yeah. I think what I love about food photography is it just makes me feel so cool. You
Yeah, I
feel like
took
an
that
artist.
picture. Really though, I would consider us like designers and artists. Like absolutely. It's a
Yes.
work of art.
That's true. Absolutely. Okay, so tell me, what's your favorite part about food blogging so far, at least?
Man, I think my favorite part about food blogging is being able to kind of live my days however I want to. I
Mm,
love, scheduling out my week and knowing that I have control over every single minute of my day and that every single day can be different.
yeah.
And I also really love working with a team of people. And I have two awesome ladies who are on my team, Emily and Lindley, and we just have so much fun. It doesn't even feel like work.
Ah.
So,
That's really nice. I really feel like that's an important, it's something I've learned about myself recently, having been in a corporate job and then switched to food blogging. It's like, you can be isolated a lot if you're not really careful. So I think developing your own team of people that you really love to collaborate and work with that's probably like the perfect spot.
totally.
Okay, so dish on it with me a little bit here, Lee. What is something about food blogging that's been a pain in the butt to you?
A pain in the butt. Probably, starting off, you do everything, from accounting to like
Yeah.
emails, responding to everything. So I think, that initial first push of like, I'm going to do this full time, it's just, it was exhausting.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I think it was really cool to learn like every single aspect of a business and like really realize like, wow, there's so many moving parts, behind the scenes of a website, because it's more than just like, oh, I'd snapped a picture of, what I ate for dinner. It's so much more than that.
Yes.
So that's the most challenging part, but I think also the most fulfilling to know like, yeah, a ton of work goes into this and I'm able to, live off my website full time because of it.
It also, it illustrates the kinds of demands that are on someone that has a food blog. Is that, on one side, you're this highly creative food photographer and recipe developer. And on the other side, you're, worrying about your taxes and the business side of things. It's complicated.
Yes. I mean, yeah, my brain's going in 100 directions every single day.
Yes. Makes me wonder what kind of people are attracted to this.
I know, the crazy ones.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's get right to it, because the thing is, I see a lot of people in the food blogging community that, they have health focused issues, or, they just want to stay fit or healthy. And I think there's sometimes discouragement, whether it's related to the food or whether it's related to the fitness side of life as far as a food blogger. And I'm just curious if you could share a little bit as far as your perspective on how you're able to maintain your health goals and still be a food blogger.
Yeah. So lucky for me, my website is health focused, which is great.
Yes.
But making 5 batches of healthy brownies still is brownies.
Yeah.
We're just kind of switching up the ingredients a little bit, but you're still, using fats and sugar and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a balance. One thing that I try and do, I think nutrition-wise, is kind of have a great balance on my site of savory recipes and sweet recipes, just so I'm not like, 8 recipes in a row as a dessert. So I kind of am strategic with what I am baking or cooking, that week in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then fitness-wise, I think, as somebody who works from home and works for myself, being at the gym or being at a group fitness studio is like totally my FaceTime with people. Like that is what I look forward to. The workout might suck, but I go because I have great friends there, and that's when I get FaceTime with like other human beings instead of my plants,
Yeah,
we all have plant friends at home.
Right. I love that. Well, and if we go back to the nutrition for just a second, I like what you were talking about, making sure you're sharing a mixture of both savory and sweet, because that's actually good for your readers too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it, it helps me stay on track as well with my nutrition goals, and hopefully other people too.
Yeah. So do you have any tips for, like, let's say you did just make 5 batches of brownies and you've got them sitting around. How do you stay out of them?
Yeah, I have made a lot of friends. I give away a lot of stuff. I freeze a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes I just have to throw it out if it was a complete, mess up, which,
Yes.
That happens. But I
does.
really try. Most stuff tastes good. Like, let's say it just didn't rise correctly. I'll still eat it, or I'll give it away. And people really appreciate free food. My brother is in college, and he'll pretty much take whatever I make him.
Yes.
So
Food bloggers need friends. That's what
They
make
do.
a t-shirt.
yeah, seriously.
Friends to give food to.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I love that. And then as far as like when you do have treats around, like here's what I'm thinking. Sometimes I think when I give into food and I get so mad at myself, or like let's say I had this goal of being really healthy today, and then I'm also testing brownies. Well, my thought is when I get really discouraged is when I'm trying to be a perfectionist. I don't know if that makes sense, but like if having a bite of a brownie totally messes up my day, I think I'm got like a perfectionist mindset about eating, and that's not healthy.
Yeah, I think it's just a simple shift in mindset that, a bite of a brownie or a brownie a day is really not going to kill you.
Yes.
And I think, it's all about balance and feeding yourself with mostly really great foods, and then, splurging a little bit. And I think that if you tell yourself, no, don't eat that brownie, well, in, 2 or 3 hours, you're going to come back and you're going to have 3 instead of, just that one bite that you wanted. Or the whole pan,
Yeah.
So there's ways to prevent it by just sort of allowing yourself to indulge and knowing that like it's not going to ruin your whole day, and just pick back up and keep eating, really highly nutritious foods.
Yes. And then when you do have that brownie, make sure you give yourself 100% attention to it and really enjoy it.
Exactly.
Okay,
I
so
love that.
let's talk about the fitness side because, being a food blogger can, it translates into spending a lot of time in front of the computer. And so I'm just curious if you have tips for, how to incorporate movement into your day.
Yeah, so there's a couple different things. I work out at a gym where I don't walk into the gym and sort of just like pick up weights and work out by myself. I do something called group strength. And so that's when I get to interact with people and I'm with a trainer, and it's sort of like you sort of make it into like a little event. And it's something that I really look forward to every single day. And I actually work out at 9:30 in the morning, which might come to a surprise to some people, but I work really, really well from like 6 in the morning when I wake up until about 9. So I get a lot of work done in the morning, and then I break for my workout, and then I come back and do more work. But I think, scheduling it out at the beginning of the week, taking 4 or 5 or 6 days and just being like, okay, this is what time and where I'm going to work out, and kind of, putting it on your GCal and just, planning that into your week right away at the beginning of the week can really help you stay on track.
Ooh, I like that. And I think that probably also gives you, it sounds a little more data focused. In other words, if I've got it on my schedule and I try this time, I might realize, like you did, I really like working out around 9:30. It kind of, boosts my morning. If I don't have it on my calendar and I just kind of take off and go, I may not actually realize what time it is when I'm working out. I'm not able to set a trend from that.
Yep. Yeah. And I found that, scheduling it in, just sort of making it part of your everyday life. You have to shower. Well, you have to work out. So just kind of like make it part of your everyday life.
Yes, I love that. And so now, do you have any tips for like when you're in front of the computer? For example, do you have like a standing desk or anything like that?
I don't, but I kind of shift around my house a lot. I'll either be on the couch or I have like my countertop. I'll stand at the counter.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I do find myself like, oh my gosh, I've been sitting for like 5 hours, but I have one little trick. So we all go to so many meetings. We network with people. Yeah. And so Minnesota is actually the land of 10,000 lakes. And so one thing that I've been starting to do is actually just having people like meet me for a walk around the lake. It's a 5K, it's an hour of my time, and I would rather be walking and talking than sort of just, sitting there for an hour. So that's kind of my trick to keep myself moving when I have meetings.
I love it. So walking meetings.
Yeah, right? Walking meetings needs to be a thing.
I think it totally needs to be a thing. It's a great idea. Sometimes I actually will go for, like, if I have a scheduled conference call, as long as it's the right kind of, if it was with a brand or something that was, highly professional, I probably wouldn't go for a walk as I talk to them. However, there are people that will call me to talk about certain things, and I know them well enough that I'll go for a walk as I talk to them, and it's great. It gets me outside. I get to enjoy the day, and I'm also walking and moving around.
Yep. I love that. That's a great idea.
Actually, Christine Pittman, she's with the site, oh my God, what's her site name? Cook the Story. And she was on the podcast a couple of months ago, and she talked about how she actually dictates her posts as she takes a walk.
I love that. Seriously, that happens for me. My best ideas come when I'm either working out or walking around the lake. It's crazy, but I feel like my brain just gets so inspired from, being outside or just moving my body and elevating your heart rate.
Yes. And my daughter told me about this text to notes. So you can actually use that as a way. It's on your iPhone. You can just talk into your, click a new note. And she says she uses it for everything. But, if you come with an idea as you're walking, you can just, say it out loud into your phone and it records it. And then you've got it for later.
That's awesome. I need to write that down.
I know. It's really cool. I think there's so many kind of like fitness hacks like this that you can use. Like I do have a standing desk, but I don't stand at it all day long. I do go back and forth just because I find standing kind of wears on my back a little bit if I stand too many hours in a row. Mm-hmm. But I do find I feel the most energized. So, okay, let me just say this. Sometimes I think we are drawn to being comfortable like gravity. Like gravity kind of pulls us down to the ground. So does the desire to be comfortable. However, when I resist that and I work really, I work at my standing desk and I try to find ways to stay physically moving throughout the day, I feel so much better.
Yep, I completely agree. And I was going to mention that I try and coffee shop hop. So there's a lot of coffee shops around here. So I'll walk to a coffee shop and then I'll grab a spot where there is a standing desk and I'll stand. I feel like I get I just, I can be in the zone a little bit better because you're right. When I'm on the couch, I'm like, I should probably take a nap right now. So if you can just,
Yes.
stay standing and moving, you're less likely to sort of fall into that napping zone.
Yes, and I actually love working at coffee shops. I don't even get it because, they're loud, there's people talking, it should be annoying, but however, I find I get a lot done there.
Me too. I love it. I feel like people are watching, so I have to like actually work.
Yeah. Yes, maybe that's it. I can't get lost on Facebook watching cat videos because, people around me think I might be doing some work, so I got to work.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Well, another thing I like what you said is that I love the idea of using my body as my source of transportation. So I think I heard you say you actually walk to the coffee shop. That is so cool.
Yep. And I live in pretty close proximity to a few grocery stores. And so when the weather's nice, same thing. I'll walk there and I'll walk back and I'll carry my groceries. And it doesn't take that much longer. And you get to, breathe in the fresh air and kind of just think without holding your phone. And, you just get some alone time.
Yes, it's so true. I actually just discovered a little trail that goes, behind these houses and underneath this bridge. And then next thing you know, I'm at the grocery store. So I'm really looking forward to riding my bike there if the weather ever cooperates.
That's awesome. I need to get a basket for my bike.
Oh, a basket is so great. I have one. I got it actually on Amazon. It's just this little kind of wicker basket. It's so cute.
Love that.
Yes. I feel so, is that urban? What is that I feel? That's almost rustic. What is that?
Urban hipster.
Urban hipster. Yes. As long as I don't have to grow a beard, that's good.
That might be in a few years.
Yeah.
Female beards.
Oh man, I hope not. So let's talk about gyms because I'm just curious. Do you think there's benefits to a home gym versus going? I mean, you're obviously like going to the gym because you get to interact with other people. Are there pros and cons, you think?
I, like you, I travel all the time. So I think, when I'm home, I love being out in the community and meeting other people at different group fitness studios. But when I'm traveling, I like to have ideas in my mind of how can I, get a quick 20 or 30-minute workout in with absolutely no equipment. So I think there's pros and cons to like understanding both and doing both.
Well, that's a good question. How do you get a 20-minute workout in without equipment?
Yeah, so I do a lot. So, well, let's preface this here. So I have a broken foot right now.
Oh,
but
yeah, that's right.
If I had 2 feet, I really love doing HIIT workouts, which is high intensity interval training.
Yeah.
And that can be done pretty much with no equipment. Really, it's just you spike your heart rate up and then you bring it back down and you just keep on doing that. And that will help kind of elevate your metabolism. And I really love doing plyometric movements, which is body weight movements that involve some sort of like jumping. So burpees or jump squats, all the fun stuff that you probably don't like doing, but is actually really, really efficient.
Well, I guess you could also bring something like a jump rope too, right? I mean, that would get you a workout in.
Definitely. And it's been cool to see my community on Fit Foodie Finds really resonates with workouts that I share. So it's fun to be able to mix in content that's not always food focused and know that like, wow, so many people actually do workouts that I share. It's really cool to see kind of the community develop and is really based around healthy living as a whole instead of just food.
Yeah, that is really cool. And okay, so let me just ask you one more question about that because, one of the problems I think with a commitment to working out as you travel, because, I think a lot of food bloggers travel a lot. And then one of the problems with that is like, is my suitcase. If I'm going to take my tennis shoes to work out, I mean, it really does change the nature of the suitcase at that point.
It completely does. But I am totally one of those people that I mix and match my kind of like business clothes with workout clothes. I'm always, in the most comfortable clothes as possible, but I do have that issue too, because it's like now you have 8 pairs of shoes, shorts, a jacket. Yeah. So it just takes a lot of planning, but has to be done.
And a commitment, I think. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And if you are traveling with other bloggers, just reaching out to them and being like, hey, would you want to meet up for a quick workout before, the breakfast at 8:00 or something? I found actually a lot of people really do enjoy working out. A lot of food bloggers, I should say, that I have met on, different trips and stuff. They really appreciate having a buddy in doing it together.
Oh, that's great. In fact, I was going to ask you about that because I know you and Davida of the Healthy Maven are friends. And does that help you to have a friend who's also very, committed to workouts and being healthy?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's definitely, for me, it's been a game changer to kind of surround myself with people that have like interests. Because like I said, it's more of like, oh, I get to meet, Davida at the gym today. It's more than just a workout. It's like, oh, I get to, spend an hour of my day with somebody that I really like.
Yeah.
So, surrounding yourself with people that really do enjoy it, it will just, help you want to do it more often too.
Oh, that's really great. And also kind of on that same vein, does it help that, your audience, your site is Fit Foodie Fine, sorry.
Yep.
But is that something then that your audience, it helps like, you're a role model for them. I imagine that probably helps too.
Yeah, it does help because it reminds me like, not only do I like this, but I know that my community would really like it as well. So
Yeah.
it does motivate me to come up with more interesting workouts, and
Yes.
It's helped me have a lot more fun doing my workouts, just being more creative.
Very cool. Okay, so do you have any other kind of like around the home health, workout hacks? Because like I'm thinking of when I'm, in the kitchen, sometimes I'm actually doing leg lifts or whatever to kind of get some squats in or something as I'm cooking.
When in doubt, just do a wall sit or a plank. Like if you've got 2 minutes on the microwave, just kind of put your back up against the wall and see if you can make it the whole time.
Yep.
They're really hard, but
builds up those thigh muscles.
Seriously, you don't need anything but your body. Another thing that Lindley and I do often, actually, which might sound a little crazy, we just break out into dancing.
Yeah.
We're always listening to fun music, and it's so fun to just like dance like no one's watching. It might sound really cliche, but we do it.
Yeah. I do that even when someone is watching. My husband, I'm a constant source of entertainment for him.
Seriously, my neighbors are probably like, what's happening over there?
I bet. Did you wear any kind of a tracker to help you keep track of your steps or anything like that?
You know what? I've gone on and off wearing a tracker. I find it kind of gives me a lot of anxiety on some days when I'm like, wow, I've been sitting the whole day. But, then other days you're like, wow, I really did move so much more today. And I just feel, my body feels so much better. So I have worn the Fitbit before, which is great. And now actually iPhones track your steps for you. So it's cool to see. You can just kind of go into the health app and see how many steps you've taken.
I love that, except that you have to have your phone on you. That's
true.
So like if I'm working out and sweating or, like I play tennis and I think I kind of ruined my last phone because of that. But I got this Withings watch. I love it. It is actually a watch. It looks like a really pretty watch, but it also tracks my steps. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I'll put the link in the show notes page in case anybody wants to check it out because I love it that much.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have any other fitness tips? Otherwise, I'm gonna go on to a different topic.
No other fitness tips other than you've spoken with Monique from Ambitious Kitchen, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So every single year we do, not every single year. Last year was our first year, but we decided to test kind of doing this project called the Summer Sweat Series.
Yeah.
During the summer slump when during the summer not a lot of people are online and numbers are down. And so last year we were like, hey, let's try and, launch a free program for our readers who are interested in healthy meal plans as well as fitness. We'll see what happens. We'll see if people really like it. And it was one of the best things we've ever done. It kept traffic up. The engagement was incredible. We had a Facebook group with thousands of people and people are just begging us to do it again.
Oh my God.
So that was a really cool thing to be like, all right, we're going to take this risk. We're going to see if we can mix more fitness into our healthy food blogs. And so we're really excited. We're working on sponsorships right now. But it should be launching in early June. So we're excited about that.
Oh, that's great. So everybody stay tuned. I can include the link to that as well because I remember that from actually I interviewed Monique about this time last year. So that's great.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your food blogging process because that's a great segue into, the craft and art of blogging.
Yes.
I'm just curious, do you have a process for how you create your blog posts? I mean, I love to ask this question because I find the background behind what goes into a blog post so intriguing. And maybe sometimes that's because I feel like I do everything so slowly or wrong or whatever. It helps me. I hear other people and I go, okay, everybody's got a different way they do this.
Yeah. It's taken me like the full 5.5 years to be like, okay, like I actually need a process for this in order to be efficient and to create really good work.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of kind of overarching planning of kind of major projects that we'll focus on throughout the year. So right now, for example, right now on Fit Foodie Finds, I have overnight oat week happening. So for, 7 days in a row, I'm posting an overnight oat recipe, which like it's crazy, but those are the most popular recipes on my site. And last year, it's brought in, I did the same week last year, and that has brought in almost 2 million page views that week alone, which is crazy.
That is.
So yeah, I kind of start off with like overarching bigger projects, and then we do a lot of monthly planning, just sort of trying to be, 8 weeks out in our content calendar.
Right.
So I would say, weekly, one of the things that has really been beneficial for me is sort of taking 1 or 2 days and doing all of my recipe testing and photography on 1 or 2 days of the week instead of trying to do that every single day. Just because that sort of, it'll keep your kitchen clean, number one. And it really just allows you to focus like, okay, I'm going to focus on admin stuff tomorrow. So I'm really going to focus my energy on this one thing. So just sort of planning out your week that way. So I'll do, if I'm shooting 4 recipes that week, I'll either do that in a day or over 2 days. And now I have somebody, Lindley, who works with me. She helps me in the kitchen and with photo shoots. So that's been really great too, having someone there assisting.
That's nice. So she comes in on the days when you're shooting?
Yep. And it's so great to be able to go from kind of one recipe cleaning up to the next and testing and all that stuff as well.
So you've tried it both ways, and in your mind, the best way to go about it is kind of batching your work into groups.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, that makes sense because you can keep your attention focused on this, and then you can move over to that later.
Yep. And I found I think we work the best when we kind of set the time aside and we're like, all right, we're going to bang out recipes today. Then we'll do editing tomorrow and more admin, email, writing stuff the next day.
That's great. Do you have certain days of week that you publish on?
Yep, I do. So right now I'm publishing on Sundays and Mondays and Fridays. And I've just found I have great engagement on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then the rest of the week pretty much is not good.
Until Friday.
Yeah, even on Friday. So in the summer, I actually pull back to 2 recipes a week instead of 3. And so now we're actually starting to do more video. So I might kind of just pull back to 2 recipes a week in general, if we can do a video a week, which will be, that's definitely going to be a challenge.
Yeah, video is hot right now, huh?
It is definitely hot, and it works. Monday was my first recipe video that I released, and my goal really for video was Facebook reach, likes, and just interactions in general. And man, it's doing its job.
Yeah, I've heard that. I actually haven't posted any video on Facebook. I really want to do that, but I've heard from others that have done it that like their reach has gone crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So direct upload versus sharing a YouTube link, really, it's nuts.
Okay, cool. I'm going to have to you're giving me inspiration to give it a try.
I mean, it was well worth it. I had no idea what was going to happen. And I think since Monday, I've never had a post with 70,000 reach. I only have 27,000 Facebook likes, but this post has it's performed really well. So I'm excited to keep the recipe videos coming.
That's exciting. That's really exciting stats. So let me just ask you this then. Do you, it sounds to me like you kind of editorial plan the month out. Is that right? Like 1 month at a time?
We try and, do 2 months at a time just to make sure we're working in our sponsored content and spreading things out evenly. Right. And so just trying to always be ahead. This might sound crazy, but I always like to have kind of a queue of 6 or 7 recipes ready to be published. Yeah. This is going to sound crazy, but I always use this as an example. Like, what if I broke my foot? And I broke my foot and I was 6 recipes ahead, and I'm like, thank God, we planned and we're prepared. So we do like to be ahead.
Wow, my life coach would love this example because he's Jay Pryor. He often says, you got to watch your words because
Seriously. I know. I'm like, well,
maybe
that
you should
came
change
through.
it. You should change it to now. What if I win the lottery?
Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to want to be 6 recipes ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Genius.
Very good. So, do you have a current favorite social media platform?
Man, my favorite social media platform is definitely Snapchat.
Oh,
I
you're
feel
great on
like,
that. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like I can just be like me.
Yeah.
It's unedited, it's raw,
Yep.
it's in the moment, which doesn't happen on social media anymore. Everything is so curated and scheduled, but Snapchat is like, I take the video and boom, it's, posted. No
Yeah.
editing and it's live.
Yeah.
So it's definitely my favorite platform. I love that I can get to know people,
Yeah.
different bloggers that I follow. And I'm kind of a weird person, and I definitely let that out on Snapchat.
I love that. I think it's a way of getting to know people for who they really are versus just that two-dimensional picture on their site and the words.
Yep.
It's really
Yep,
cool.
exactly.
And Instagram just seems like it's become it's almost like dogmatically curated,
It totally is. And
perfect.
I was thinking about that. I have all of my my perfect little Instagram photos scheduled out and ready to go.
Yeah.
It's so different from Snapchat.
Yeah. So I actually was kind of slow to embracing Snapchat, but the more I'm using it, the more I'm really liking it for that very reason.
Yep. It's
Okay.
awesome. I love it.
What's your number one tip for helping someone who may be trying to grow their audience?
I think so. My number one tip is always just, consistency. The more you do something, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
And my blog, didn't go from 0 followers to over 1 million in a night. It took me 5.5 years, and it's because I never stopped. And, looking back at 2 years ago, I'm like, wow, I've really, really improved, but it's because I do it every single day.
Yeah.
My recipes are getting better. My photography is getting better, and it's because I just keep practicing.
Ah, I love it. That's great advice. Okay, so what's coming up next for you? Anything that you can share?
You know what? I think the next big project is the Summer Sweat series.
I was wondering if you were going to say that. Good.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited for it. So we're just gearing up for creating all of the meal plans and filming all the workouts. And so it's an exciting time of year. It's really fun to do partnerships with other bloggers. I find it, it's fun to work as a team and to create little projects and just, challenge yourself in that way.
Do you and Monique live nearby each other?
She did grow up in Minneapolis, but she recently moved to Chicago. So that's kind of how we met.
You do your videos in separate places, but publish them together?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll come together and create all the content and then in one spot, and then we'll host it on both of our sites. So
it's so exciting. Okay, so here we are at the end of the interview, and I just got a few quick and fun questions for you.
Cool.
So what I can't even talk. What's one food item you can't live without?
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. I love that.
I know, and I was reading your bio and I heard you are a big fan of peanut butter and banana. So I think we can be best friends.
I have it almost every day.
Me too. It's the best.
Yes. Sometimes this is so ridiculous. I can't even believe I'm telling you this, Lee. Sometimes I will just open a jar of peanut butter and smell it. I love it.
I would never taunt myself with that because I would definitely eat 3 spoonfuls.
If I was one of those people and I could eat whatever I want, I would just get a jar of peanut butter and a spoon. I would just go at it. It's a dream I have someday. But anyway, okay, great. Peanut butter, what do you love it on?
Pretty much anything, but preferably bananas.
Yes. Oh, man, we are good buds then. It's the best stuff.
It is.
Okay, what's your favorite app on your phone?
My favorite app on my phone, I would have to say, lately it's been Bitmoji. Do you know what that is?
No, but I want to know.
Okay, it's hilarious. So you create basically this emoji that looks like you, and you send these little images. So they have a whole backstock of how's it going? LOL. So basically you can have full conversations with your Bitmoji, but you can choose its hair color, its outfit, its eye color, all this stuff, and then it looks just like you. It's crazy.
Oh, so that sounds so cute.
Yeah, and it's fun. and hilarious at the same time. And I have an outfit that looks just like my Bitmoji's outfit. You have to download Bitmoji.
That's like an American Girl doll, except in emoji form.
Right? Like virtual
yes.
American Girl doll. That's funny.
I love it. It could be like your little friend. Very cool. Okay, so do you have any time for TV? And if so, what's your favorite show?
I try and make time for TV. So I love Netflix, and I watch pretty much everything on Netflix. But lately I've been watching The Walking Dead, and I'm always up for a New Girl episode.
You know what? I don't watch. Oh, wait. New Girl. Yes. I have watched that a couple of times. It's hilarious.
It's so funny.
Yes.
Like, if I want to laugh, I just watch New Girl.
You know what? Sometimes we need to laugh, don't we? Yes,
all the
good.
time.
Yes.
Preferably all the time.
But Walking Dead is not one I have watched before, but I definitely, I've heard enough people talk about it that I really need to watch it.
You would love it. It's great. It's really good.
Is it intense? I mean, what is it? Is it?
I thought I was going to be scared, but I love that it's a drama.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. I can't explain it. You just got to watch it.
Okay. I'll just have to take your word for it and try it. Okay. How can people find you online?
So I am pretty much Fit Foodie Finds everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. And then my website's fitfoodiefinds.com.
Wonderful. Lee, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I had a really great time.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had a great time as well.
Thanks so much to Lee Hersh for being my guest on today's episode of the Chopped Podcast. Be sure to go to choppedpodcast.com to buy your tickets to the Chopped Conference, learn more about today's show, and you can sign up for the newsletter to get the latest and greatest about food blogging. Tune in next week as I talk to Stephanie Wise of the site Girl vs. Dough about how to build and expand a freelance career as a food blogger. She shares a lot of great stuff, and I can't wait to share that with you. I hope you're loving the Chopped Podcast. You know your support for the show really means a lot, whether it's leaving a review on iTunes or Stitcher, or sharing about the show on social media, or even leaving a link in your own blog or podcast as well. And I love getting your emails. It all means so much. You inspire me so much, and I hope today's show was helpful and inspirational to you as well. Thanks for listening, and have a great week.